Cedar side on. Shifty work into the box. And across. It's in. Oh, it's Lowe. It's a dream return.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Casual FC, an Angel City preview pod. Today is a little special, tiny, little fun, who knows what we're going to talk about episode with me, Angela, and Jackie from Women Kick Balls, which is so fun. I've wanted to do this since the podcast was born. Jackie is dope. We've talked about Jackie a lot on the show as
Christ. Sorry, just
even have been at any fan fest for Angel City, games at the World Cup. I don't know. You've been everywhere over the last couple of years.
Oh, I've been
probably
all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. You've probably traded Parkside cards with Jackie at some point or picked one up when you signed up for a newsletter. The freelance life is stressful and hard, but you are doing a fantastic job at it and representing the game. Like 10 out of 10, top notch. What's it called? Content.
Stop. I'm going to be crying this entire podcast.
Yes. You know what? I'm usually the one who cries, and
there you go.
All right. So normally there's like air horns and everything, and I'm like, I don't know what to do without Mario to bounce things off. Normally,
love it.
We're just
add
we're
those little sound effects in.
It's just me. I'm the sound effect.
That's funny.
Jackie, my friend, how did you get started? Where did Women Kick Balls come from? How did you pick the name? Also, I need to know the thought process, because that is.
I have a story for that one.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a good story for that one. And it's Angel City related too. There's a tie there. Fun fact. But yeah, I started playing soccer when I was really young. I was 17 years old. I know I still look like I'm 17 if any of you see me in person. I'm about to be 27, so it's been a long time since I've been in the soccer industry and writing about it. And yeah, I always wanted to be a sports writer. I thought that'd be super cool. But when I was 17, it was like not a thing. And I was told by a lot of people that I shouldn't do it. Like I wasn't going to be good at it. Journalism was just like a dying business. So you don't have any hope in that industry, whatever. And I was like, I don't really care what these people think. I'm going to do it anyways.
So add trailblazer to your tagline.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was just like, I'm just going to do it. And I didn't know if that was a thing, or just for me, I've always had that work ethic of putting my mind to something. My Uncle Joe, he was the one who was like, Jackie, I think you should start writing about women's soccer. I was 17, and I was like, what the heck is this guy saying? I thought you go to school, get a job, and then figure out career stuff. Anyways, I started when I was really young. Just got a bunch of internships writing. They were a lot of unpaid things. And then in 2019, I was still in college, and I decided to come up with an official name for my journalism work and stuff. And yeah, I sat down with my dad, my uncle, my brother, and we were trying to come up with a name. And Cindy LaRue, actually, back in the day when she just had Cassius, in her Twitter bio, it said, Mom to Cassius and I kick balls for a living.
Yep,
and
I remember those days.
Yeah, you remember that? Okay. Just the one kid. And I always thought that was so funny. And I was like, okay, what can I do with that? So I was like, women who kick balls, trying to go off that or something. And I said it out loud, and my dad, my brother, and my uncle just laughed. And then I was like, wait, women kick balls. I think that sounds right. Yeah. And they were, like, asking me questions about it because, of course, it sounded sketch at first. And I was explaining it, and they're like, you're right, that's a good name. You should do that.
It's a little tongue-in-cheek. It's a little silly.
Depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Like, some guys get super weird about it, and other people are like, oh, that's so cool, because they get it. It's really easy to remember. And so I thought, if my dad, like the three most important men in my life, can approve of this right here, right now, I'll be fine. Whatever. Like, I really don't care about anyone else's opinions. Yeah, I went with that, and in 2019, I was, like I said, still in college, had other jobs, full-time jobs in other industries, hated those corporate full-time jobs in marketing and PR and stuff. And then, yeah, in 2022, I went fully freelance, which was, like, super cool, super crazy, super wild. It's just, like, constant roller coaster of emotions. And yeah, here we are, and getting to go to a lot of games. And being from Southern California, I felt deprived for so long of not having NWSL teams here. Now we have 3, so I'm like, okay, this is cool. But
you went from like a desert, a soccer desert,
literally
professional soccer desert, to like this abundance of riches. And I was like, oh no, I guess I have to travel the whole
0 to 100
now.
Real quick. So yeah, it's been pretty wild, but super cool.
That's fantastic. I have a women kickball hat from one of your deals and things. and I've worn it to work, and I work predominantly with men, and they're
They
just
get
like,
weird.
Angela, what is that hot? And I'm like, what does it say? And they're like all 20 something. They're just a bunch of goobers, and I love them. And they're just like, why would you wear that? And I was like, because I like soccer. And they're like, yeah, but what about? And I'm like, what about it? And I just
I
push them
love it.
further into that corner, and I'm like, say it with your chest, guys. And they're like,
Yeah.
that's a great hat. And they'll go leave. Like,
That's so funny. Yeah, I get some funny stories about like people who wear my merch or things like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I just forget. I feel like it's so normal now, like in my circle or like with my friends, and so it's just like cool to hear other people's perspectives because it's like, yeah, it does get you thinking if you're
it's
not
a
like in the
conversation
soccer
starter.
world. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Oh man, I feel like everyone who listens to this are just gonna be like, are they just sitting there giggling a
Yeah.
little
Pretty
bit?
much. I talked to you in that whole group at the draft for I don't know how long.
We were
Before and during the draft, I was just running around. I was like, I don't know what's
But
going on. This is
You
crazy.
saved our lives. You brought us water. You hooked it up
Yeah.
for those of us who were
The homies. Yeah, I got
struggling.
support. What was that? That was pretty long. Like, what, 3 hours? More?
We left at 10. We got there. Even I got there at 3:15, 3:30.
No.
And you were there longer.
I was there all week, yeah.
Yeah.
I was working.
You were there like crazy. We were like, we didn't know if we could bring snacks in. We had eaten before. We're like, okay, we can last. There was supposed to be an after party that Angel City was throwing, and we were like, no. And we had gotten a hotel in Long
After
Beach, and we were
parties.
just like, I just want to lay down. I'm done.
Yeah. Rough.
That's
Those were
awesome.
rough
So-
days, but fun.
Yeah, that was a long day. But yeah, honestly, I did not expect to be like, and my face hurt the next day from laughing so much with all of you.
Really?
Like,
Aw.
yeah, for a little refresher, Eve and I were hanging out with folks from basically every supporter group, the Angel City chicks, Jackie, Austin, the supporter group rep. Everybody was just hanging out, and it was silly, and we were getting delirious. Like, you could tell the people who had worked half the day in their normal job and then took it off me to go to this, and it's 10 o'clock, and I'm like, yeah, this is silly. I've been awake for 100 hours. It was bonkers. But honestly, if anything is going to be that much fun, it should be something like that.
That's true.
Like-
yeah.
Yeah. What has been over the last year, because you've done a lot of cool stuff, and I'm going to give you a caveat with this question.
Okay.
Aside from World Cup, what has been the coolest thing that's happened in the last year for you and or WKD?
Oh, that is super tough. The coolest thing,
Like,
outside of
World Cup is like major.
World Cup. Yeah, it's the World Cup. There are so many cool things that happened during that trip, but man, outside of that, I don't know. I feel like the one I'm thinking of it literally just happened yesterday.
That counts.
Okay, it's tied to the World Cup, but I'll explain. But yeah, I published a World Cup magazine, and yesterday, this mom, she tagged me in this Instagram video, and basically her daughter brought my magazine to a game and had Lynn Williams sign it, and it was a first page of the World Cup magazine where I broke it up from all 12 teams and every club player that was in the World Cup tournament. And so, anyways, Lynn is looking at this magazine because she sees all these players who are at the World Cup in their countries, and she goes, "That's such a cool book." And I was like, "What the heck? Lynn Williams over here
Like, what
liking
is
my
this?
magazine and signing up for this kid." And it was just so sweet because then the girl who got it signed was like showing all her friends afterwards, and her mom like sent me these videos,
Aw.
and you can hear the girl saying, "Oh, that's Julie Ertz," and then one of her friends was like, "Oh yeah, but she retired, right?" And I'm like, "What the heck? These kids like know so much about soccer." It was just like this full circle moment because I didn't grow up around professional soccer like that, or
Didn't
even
have that.
yeah, like even having access to playing club soccer and that high level, just different things like that. So I always think about making things accessible, which is a big thing of mine. But when it came to this magazine, I was just like, whoa, that's so cool that they have this tangible thing like a magazine, and they're enjoying it, but then they're at the game and interacting with this player too. I don't know, it was just crazy to think about, whoa, that didn't really exist when I was younger, and so being able to have a small part in that was like super cool. Again, that was just fresh in my mind because it happened the other day from the CONCACAF game, but
That's
just so cool to
fantastic.
see that come to life.
I saw the video because you reposted it, and I
Yeah.
was like, this is major. And like me thinking the way I do, I'm like, oh, this isn't the first time this has happened, which I can guarantee you it's not. It's just the first
Yeah.
time to this level.
Right.
But for those of you who don't know, Jackie had been publishing a beautifully put together magazine I have both volumes because I am a super fan, as
I love
everybody.
it.
Still want to get copies of the World Cup edition. Jackie still has them. Go to the website.
Actually,
Oh,
update. They're all sold out.
Are
They
you
are
serious?
sold out. Yeah,
Oh,
they
heck
up
yes.
until a few days ago. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
great. Well,
they're
never
sold out.
mind.
I know, never mind, but still check out the website. But no, yeah, it's crazy. Like I had a very generous buyer within the soccer industry who like bought out the rest of my magazines, and I was like, this is crazy. What the heck? Just the people I
Wow.
interact with, and just like things you put on social media, and you have no idea what's gonna happen. And yeah, anyways, it's crazy, but like super exciting just to see more people that get to enjoy it. Yeah, the magazines are officially vintage now, but yeah, I don't know if maybe
I'm going to have you sign my copies so I
I
can
haven't signed
frame
them.
them.
Oh, I
think
gotta
so.
sign them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Instead of bring them to games because they don't want them to get messed up. They're just in the envelope you ship them in on
Really?
the bookshelf.
That's
yeah,
cool.
like it's so weird.
I love it. It's great.
I've got Slam magazines with different WNBA players. It's still in the packaging. I'm like, this will not get
What?
bent.
Yeah, it's vintage.
But I'm like,
so
I
there
need
you
to
go.
frame it or something. Get them so I can look at them.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to for this season? Because this NWSL season is about to be bonkers.
Crazy.
Straight bonkers.
Yeah, I think there's a few things. First off, expansion team. Super excited to see AFC and the Royals in the mix. Crazy that Amy Rodriguez is like coming back to the NWSL as a coach. So I'm like, oh,
I
this will
know.
be like cool to see how that plays out. Yeah, so that's one aspect. Of course, the rookies. I feel like it's always exciting to see like what the rookies are gonna bring in this new season. And yeah, like the draft, that was wild. But then seeing other trades and stuff, like I don't know, I'm still mentally trying to figure out who's on what team. Like seeing Messiah Brown, Angel City now, I'm like, oh, this is your brain has to process. But yeah, I think there's a lot of aspects from the rookie class this year that I'm just excited to see how they're gonna. I feel like last year's rookies were really good, so I'm like, oh man, I can't believe what's gonna happen this year, especially in Olympic year as well. So I think there's so many aspects of that, and yeah, there's just a lot. It's gonna be a long season. Anything can happen, but yeah, it'll be cool just to look forward to seeing how it's gonna be like new in that sense with more teams and more players. I guess those are the two things, is expansion and rookies are my go-to answers. But yeah, do you have anything in particular specific about this season?
I'm just so curious how all of the off-season moves are going to play out. They're like, because you can put together a super team, but that doesn't mean they're going to be like tight.
Gotham. Yeah.
Team. They've been playing together for 10 years in different ways.
Yeah.
We've been calling them the national team 2.0.
It's true. Yeah.
It's
Literally.
But yeah, I'm so curious, but I'm really, granted, I'm biased to Angel City but I'm so excited to see how this team comes out of the locker room this year with this solid, cohesive mindset. It feels like they're just going 100 miles an hour. Like,
crazy.
we don't have a starting keeper yet because it's that competitive. And I'm like, let's go. Let's just rotate. Let's have 3 keepers and keep everybody guessing.
Seriously.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Honestly, it's just one of those things where it's like, and the coaches. I think there's a totally different take on coaches this season.
Yeah, we've got players.
Yeah.
We've got returning coaches in good and interesting. I don't want to say bad because I don't want to jinx it, but everyone is looking with binoculars and telescopes staring at Kansas City right now. What you gonna do? Are you gonna return to form? Are you gonna do?
Because they got Freya and Vlaco. They got that dynamic, and
it's
seeing
like
all the
team
memes
no
about
subs, and it stresses me out. Like
seeing all these memes about it, I was like, oh yeah, that was like a whole time frame of what was like Freya being with Angel City, and then like go with the national team. Now they're together, and I don't know. I was even looking at the like coaching staff as a whole, and I think there's 6 or 7 coaches that have already had returning coaches or who have been in the NWSL. That's just about half.
There's no faces in a lot of ways.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, because you have people like I said, Amy Rodriguez, Bev Llanas, who were former players now coaching. So yeah, you've been around in the NWSL, but
this
just
is a league than the league.
Yeah, exactly.
So much has changed for the better, thank God.
Yeah.
But so much has changed since they were playing, and man, I'm excited though.
It's going to be good. It's going to be crazy because even too, I mean, you think about, you don't have Ali Krieger, Megan Rapinoe, like some of those players who have retired, but Becky Sauerbrunn, I'm like, I don't know, when is this girl going to retire? Because sometimes it's rough. That's got to be rough on your body constantly.
I stopped competing, like, how old am I? I'm 10. Okay, so I'm 10 years older than you.
Okay.
And I stopped competing at 21 is when my body was like, no. And I'm over here legitimately this whole weekend and end of last week looking up how to compete in the US track and field masters, like 35 and over. Like I
Uh-huh.
could hit that. I could hit those
Yeah.
marks because I was a thrower. And my mom is just like, "Are you sure? Like, are you gonna be able to walk?" I'm like, "This is gonna be a slow ramp up. I got
Yeah.
people are 95 and doing this. I got time."
That's insane.
Yeah.
Dang.
So catch me on the track.
Let's go. But okay, Becky Sauerbrunn, 38 years old,
Yeah,
playing. That's
we're the same age.
intense.
And
That's
I'm like, you
intense.
are an elite athlete still. Your body has cooperated with you
Crazy.
still.
Yeah. Who knows? And Christine Sinclair as well. And you look at just some of these legends who are like getting closer to the end of their career, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy because I feel like they were so
Yeah.
iconic to women's soccer and just their growth in the U.S. and other countries too. So I don't know. That to me is trippy too. It's like I feel like a lot of last year heard about like Allie and Megan or Pino's like last
Hmm.
game. So it's okay, that's now done. But then that means there's a new set of players where that's gonna
Yeah.
be happening
It's
too, and
like
it feels
Sink, like
yeah.
Brune, like all of these players, especially Sink and Becky Sauerbrunn. We don't know. Sink's not going to announce her retirement. She doesn't want the attention. That's been proven. She doesn't like to talk to people. She's just like, please no. Please no. Becky's like, leave me alone. I'm not gonna score.
She's
I've
like, I
done
want to go
that.
read a book right now.
Go read. I just want to go take a shower, be quiet. They're both stoic in their own ways. But yeah, I'm so curious what this is going to bring. I have a feeling the West Coast teams for the NWSL are going to be very, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Very, not volatile because that seems like bad, but that kind of energy. Just
I was gonna say
a little,
obnoxious, almost in a good way. In that it's just gonna
yeah,
get crazy. NWSL After Dark is gonna be the
every day.
normal. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
like not
NWSL
ready
After
for that.
Dark is just NWSL West Coast because we have,
Literally.
what, 5, 6 teams? Wait,
Let's see. I have a map.
the three of
We
us
have
in
one,
California,
two.
Utah, and then
Oh yeah,
Oregon, Washington. Yeah. So 6 West Coast Pacific time teams. Good luck, East Coasters.
yeah. And okay, also being that you're from, or you're like obviously live on the West Coast, but in NWSL graphics, I hate when they never put Pacific Standard Time because I'm like, you have teams here, like
Yeah.
KWS people who are here. It's just always Eastern Time. I'm like, what's up with
Yeah.
that?
It's like
Anyways,
I grew up with TGIF that was on at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then they put the slash
yeah,
central slash PC,
like
PST.
be
We
considerate of the other people.
tell us what time it is because not everybody
Yeah.
knows they just need to subtract 3.
I can't. It's only subtracting 3, which isn't that hard. But I'm just like,
It's
I don't want to
hard.
do the math. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it is hard. I'm just like, I don't want to do the math right now.
Well,
And
when
I
you're
feel dumb
juggling.
when it's like a
Yeah.
noon game, and then you're like, wait, but it's morning. What? Just make
I'm
it
in my
easy.
pajamas. Like I
Yeah.
don't understand.
Just simplify it for us West Coasters and the people on the East Coast, and whatever you want to do with the people in the middle,
Yeah.
go ahead. But I don't know.
Absolutely.
Anyways, that's a
No,
random
I'm
tangent.
so with you when it comes to sports in general. I never remember if the ESPN app is in Eastern time or Pacific time, so I'm always stressed if I'm gonna miss a
Yeah.
game. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
Even
we'll
too
see.
with CONCACAF because it's CONCACAF
yeah.
and the whole
Nothing
US
is not chaotic.
right? Yeah, the whole USA versus Canada game was like initially scheduled first for the 4 p.m. slot, and then now it got pushed back. And so it's just people make up your mind, just figure it out. CONCACAF is a whole interesting thing, though. Side note, the reason why I'm not covering CONCACAF is because my credentials got denied because they said I didn't have enough proof of being a journalist. So that's why I'm not at these games.
What?
I've talked to so many people who work within U.S. soccer and the NWSL, and
Yeah.
they're like, "That's so ridiculous. It's CONCACAF
What?
being CONCACAF," and I'm like, "Yeah, but also it's kind of nice because I for sure get a break of not feeling obligated to drive everywhere, like when I'm
Yeah.
trying to chill, not get burnt out before the NWSL season even starts. But just lots of
That is
soccer going on,
what's that requirement then? Not enough, but you write for
right?
Forbes. You have
I don't
your
even know.
website. You've traveled to a whole other half of the
And
world to cover
yeah, like I'm
soccer.
already in the system. I covered the CONCACAF qualifiers like the last time in 2020, so I'm
That
like,
makes no
it's not like I'm a
sense.
random person applying for the first time. I don't know, but it's just
Like,
very
that'd be
much
me.
CONCACAF.
That-
It
that's
could,
it.
yeah,
But like,
I'm
why
like,
would that does? Oh, that's
I don't-
CONCACAF.
it's so CONCACAF that it's funny. At first, I was like, that's dumb, and then I was like, who cares? I'm just ready for the NWSL season. I'm trying to chill and just enjoy
Yeah.
it. So I went to USA versus Mexico as a fan because someone gave me tickets, and I was like, whoa,
Oh,
I
nice.
haven't done this in 7 years for the US at least,
And you got to see history.
yeah, and I brought one of my friends, and it was her first ever professional soccer game, and it was so funny because she was like, Her definition of knowing soccer is like watching Ted Lasso, but she saw the corner kick flag and she goes, remind me, what does that flag mean again? And I was like, it means that there's a corner kick and here's what that means. It was so funny because I was like, wow, I haven't been in this
had to
position
explain
for a while. Yeah.
It's always so wild when you're like, you realize just how immersed you are in something when you have to
Yeah.
explain it to someone else and you're just like, what? Why don't you know?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Even too, watching the USA versus Colombia game the other day, I was watching with some friends, and some of them know soccer, some of them don't, but someone asked us, they were like, does that mean she has a red card, but is there like an orange card or something? And I was like, bro, for real?
What?
No, that's not even, just because there's yellow and red, no, that does not, they're thinking color
That's
theory versus
amazing.
logistics.
They're like, if 2 yellow cards make a red,
Yeah.
is it really like an orange red or a red? Like,
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? It was so funny.
Crayon? Like,
Yeah, basically. So sometimes I can deal
Yeah.
with that stuff. But yeah, there's never a dull moment, that's for sure.
that's fantastic. Okay, so I mentioned that when did you start writing for Forbes? Because I just
Oh,
like
that was-
noticed and I was like, oh, what? Susan?
Yeah, that was recently, I think like the end of November-ish. So yeah, it's new first official season, NWSL season, writing for Forbes. Yeah, it's been pretty busy in the off season at least.
That's fantastic. I'm like genuinely, I met you first season, but still I'm so proud of you. Like
Oh, thank you.
any time we can help launch anybody to a new audience or whatever.
Yeah.
Granted, probably all of our 14 listeners, or
It's all right.
if you're more than 14, thank you. But whatever. If more people get to know what you're doing, it means an extra click on an article. It means an extra person reading.
Yeah, I appreciate
You
it.
know,
For sure.
it's all about supporting each other and getting more people involved in this crazy world of women's soccer.
Crazy. It is crazy. There's literally, you think one thing and it doesn't happen. That's always just how it is with
Yep.
playoffs or drafts, expansion teams coming into play. It is crazy. Some of my friends that I was watching that game with the other day, they're like, we should go to a soccer game. And I'm like, okay, guys, if we go,
I'll
I'm
see
down.
you there.
But yeah, I was like, am I be working or am I be like hanging out with you guys? No, hang out. And I was like, okay, sure. So I was telling about Angel City and San Diego's rival and all this stuff. And sure enough, the first rival, our SoCal rivals, on my birthday this year. And so they were like, let's go for your birthday. And I'm like, okay, I feel like y'all are more hyped about this than me, but I'm down. Because it's my normal, so it's interesting
Yeah.
of finding the balance of joy in my work and in something I do enjoy. I was excited, but they were just like all hyped up. They're like, we gotta go.
So I know, is the game that this might be happening at the Angel City home game or San Diego home game?
Oh, it's Angel City. It's 5:23. So,
You're May baby too?
yeah, what are you?
The first. And Mario's, I think, the
Ooh.
26th. Like,
Hey, we're all okay.
we're
let's
all
go.
there. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I kick off the month. We had first season opening day was like 2 days before my birthday.
Mhm.
It was lit. It was so much fun. We had a blast. So
Really? Did you tailgate?
a little bit.
Okay.
Not too much.
Nice.
Just because we were like overwhelmed. Because that first
Yeah.
tailgate, I was like half crying the whole time because I was like, I'm just so happy because this blah, blah, blah. I've said it a million times on our podcast, but I was at opening day for the Sparks versus the Liberty in 97. Like the
Whoa.
opening day of the WNBA.
That's
so like,
cool.
I get it on that level, but I was 10. So
Yeah.
now walking into BMO on opening day for Angel City and I see all these other little kids and I'm like, this is 10 times
Yeah.
better at least. So yeah, I'm just
That's so cool.
forever emotional about
love that,
women's
though.
sport.
You've been in like, yeah, another cycle of it. So that's
Yeah.
really cool. Were you at the Coachella Valley Invitational thing?
No, I couldn't go. I had something. I don't
It
know. I
was
doing
so
something
hot
weekend.
that day. Probably
Also,
did
that's
yourself a
part
favor.
of why
Yeah.
I didn't go.
It was
I'm like
crazy.
a cold mountain girl. Keep me
Same.
where the sun doesn't shine.
Dude,
Yeah.
the weather was so weird that day that it was kind of gloomy. So I was like, oh, I'm going to wear a sweater to be cold. I got there and it was so hot. I got sunburned and I was like, oh my
Ooh.
gosh, I'm not
I
ready
was
for
not
this.
ready.
Yeah, but it was cool because there was a lot of young fans there, and I was like, this is their normal where they just get to meet players in a super chill environment like that outside of a stadium and all this kind of stuff. And so I was just tripping out because I was like, there was not soccer over here like back in the day when I was growing up, like, but so cool to
Yeah.
see how just normalized that is now. But yeah, it was just crazy like seeing that and yeah, Bay and Angel City tied 0-0, and I was like standing behind the goal, and I was just like waiting for something to happen. So I was like, "What's going on here?" But it was still like a good game. So a lot of Angel City fans, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm very curious how that first matchup's gonna go on opening day. Both teams are stacked in different ways, different games, and didn't show each other a lot. Based on there was a lot of subs, a lot of moving pieces around, so nobody got a full look at anything, which is so strategic of both coaches. So
It's gonna be a good matchup. And like you were saying, I was talking to one of the BFC players afterwards, and she was just saying, yeah, we're still figuring out our chemistry because they'd only been together for 4 weeks before that game. They still don't have that much time, but then obviously Angel City has been around longer, but then they have other players in the mix, and there was a good amount of players that you didn't necessarily see too, so it's just interesting. But I'm excited for the Alyssa Thompson and Giselle duo, because even some of my non-soccer friends, they're like, I don't know how they know about Alyssa Thompson, but they do. And I was like, what the heck? Y'all are educated over here. And I was like, her sister this is her first season. And they're like, no way, that's so cool. And I don't know, I just feel like that's such a cool dynamic. And they're so young that I'm like, you get to enjoy this for a good chunk of time.
20 years.
Yeah, that's like your normal. Like, how cool.
It's so cool. I'm sure we should do a mid-season check-in. Like, are you surviving? Do you need a Gatorade? Are you okay?
I might need 5 Gatorades and some 100 SPF sunscreen, but we will make it through. So
definitely, yeah. Let's do a mid-season check-in, see what you're up to, see where you're at, because I'm sure you're gonna be like, sup, or like a pre-game interview with a tiny mic, and just are you alive? Do it. No.
And we have the Olympics, and we're going to have a good break, too, so we're going to use that up for sure, resting, but then it'll be hard because I miss NWSL, but then you get to watch on the international
And there's
stage,
apparently an in-season tournament during that time. Who knows what's going to
happen?
happen?
They're always making up things new every year. I'm like, this is not even, I don't know, it's just interesting. So I'm sure there's going to be a new something this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a bonkers season. Every season in the end of it, so it's a bonkers season, but this one is tippy top, and we haven't even started.
Crazy.
All right, everybody, make sure you follow Jackie at Women Kick Balls on just about every social media situation. And then Casual FC Pod, same places, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok. We're getting there. There's so many places on the internet. Womenkickballs.com is where you can get the majority of Jackie's content. And just go support her, support what she's doing. She's doing big things, making big moves, and thanks for coming on for a quick convo and a whole bunch of laughs. And I'll see you soon.
See you soon in LA. Let's do it.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.